It's a hint.
No, that would be mad. But no, you can really taste the grapefruit in it. It's very nice. Yes. So, give it a crack next time you're in your local Green King pub.
Coffee's feeling confident.
Well, that's good, yeah. Oh, yeah, what's going on in the garden? What's this? Is it Morris Dancers? Oh, it's Morris Dancers, yeah, you know. They didn't last long, did they? It's the Jodie Morris Dancers, very big round Chelsea way in the pub garden. What else is going on in the pub garden, he said, calling for another special effect of some kind. Anything else? Oh, it's him. There's Roger Federer playing in the pub garden. It's the only way you'd get him a turnout, isn't it? Unless we gave him free tickets.
He's wearing a Johnny Bairstow shirt.
Now, we've been playing games in this section over the last few weeks, some of the old games that we would have played over the years on the show. And one thing we also did on the show over the years, oh, here we go, was to dig into the archives, and it's a cassette tape, believe it or not. I don't think it's the CD, of Great Balls of Fire. Freddie Trueman, the great demon fast bowler, Freddie Trueman, England and Yorkshire. He made it was a kind of autobiography that he did the audio recording of. Yeah, he insisted on doing it himself, did Fred. Yeah, great album. Yeah, I mean, I've read the book actually. I've got the book.
Is this the version that's a bit warped?
I don't think so. I think maybe
because we had one that was, I know I owe the game.
Yeah, it's been digitised. You know, our boffins. I think George Martin did it sadly back in the day before we lost him. But anyway, sadly Fred's no longer with us. But let's revel in the great Fred Trueman. And this was the little mantra, the beginning. That we would always play before Fred told us one of his many yarns. So let's get a bit of a flavour for the man.
I'm always ready to coach anybody from international to schoolboy cricketers, because I feel an obligation to do so. In spite of all my troubles, I know I owe the game of cricket a great deal, and I'm willing to put something back.
Good man, Fred.
Yeah, I don't think a day goes by where I don't use the expression, I know I owe the game.
Yeah.
I do. I think I say that every single day of my life. I don't know
It's your mantra.
But I've got an obligation to Gattuso.
That's it.
The former AC Milan manager.
As he changed it. So anyway, you've got to come on to some of Fred's troubles in a moment. But before that, he was an interesting guy, wasn't he? He would try different things. And one of the things he decided to try his hand at was stand-up comedy. And this is what happened.
At the beginning, I was game for anything, and I found my name leaping out of the headlines again in 1969, when I went on the board as a nightclub comedian. I had no ambitions in that direction, really. I did it because I accepted a silly bet made when I was in a club in the northeast, listening to a pretty poor comedian. I asked the owner what he was paying the man, and was amazed when he said £250 a week. So I said it was a damn good living for nothing, because the stories he was telling were so old and badly delivered into the bargain. Someone who overheard me said,
cricket ball.
Do you think you could do a week up there in front of a crowd like this? I've always found challenges hard to refuse.
Oh, yeah.
So I put a bold face on and said, yes, piece of cake. And the bet was struck.
For some reason.
I approached the Lipthorpe brothers, who own the Fiesta clubs at Sheffield and Stockton.
Nice.
And they were willing to let me do a week. They paid me a bit of brass, too. And I had a marvellous time. They thought of a great idea to present me to the audience, projecting a film of me bowling at the audience on a paper screen. And at just the right moment, I burst through, leaving the screen in shreds. It shook 'em rigid the first night.
Especially
I went
when you go to a
comedy show. Make up my own original jokes, as well as tell them properly. I kept it up 7 nights a week for nearly a month, before I realised that much though I enjoyed it, I had more important things to do. To be truthful, I got fed up with it.
Yeah, I'm going to ring the Lipthorpe brothers.
Yes, if they can get you
a
on.
gig.
Yeah, that's
250 quid a week. Sounds like good money, that.
Piece of cake.
It was.
So there we are. But it wasn't all fun and games. Fred admits to dalliances, really. It was a lonely life on the road for a young cricketer, as we discovered.
If things were going better for me on the cricket field at the end of the 50s, they certainly weren't at home. In fact, my marriage was beginning to break up.
Oh.
On reflection, I suppose it was inevitable. I met Enid in 1951 at a cocktail party given by her father, who was the mayor of the Scarborough at the time. We married in 1955 and set up a house in West Ayton, outside Scarborough. The first 5 years or so passed by happily enough. I worked hard at trying to make the marriage a good one. I believed in family life, and had been raised to regard marriage as a contract for life.
True.
There was nothing I could do about it, being away from home when we travelled to play other counties.
Well, it was.
The 6-month tours abroad placed a tremendous strain on our relationship.
Yeah.
Cricketers are human. When you're used to a healthy marital relationship, it's more than flesh and blood can stand to go without sex for 6 whole months.
Steady on, Fred.
Don't know.
Ian had never accused me of sleeping with other women on the tours, but she was an intelligent woman and must have known that I had had the odd bird.
That's the other thing I say every day.
The odd bird.
I had the odd bird.
Well, it did get worse from Fred's point of view, and this is how it transpired.
I was upset and disappointed at the time, but I can understand now just how fed up she must have felt. Would have taken an angel to enjoy being my wife at that time. The rows and scenes got worse and worse, until I frequently left the house and spent the night in my car. There was one notable occasion in 1961 when I was playing against the Australians at Headingley. And on the Saturday afternoon, I had 6 wickets for 1-run spell in less than an hour to put them all out. The press were calling it the finest piece of pace bowling ever seen in a test.
Of course they were.
I wondered to myself what they would have thought if they had known I'd spent the previous night in the back of my car in a Leeds car park with an overcoat for a blanket, arriving at the ground before anyone else so that I could have a wash and shave. For a long time, my address was often the car, the Yorkshire Dales.
That's what Jimmy Anderson should do before the first test match. What? Spend the night in the car.
Spend the night in the car.
Take 6 for 1.
Yeah, that's not good. It's back of it killing him, wasn't it, the following morning? So, now Fred, as you're aware of, probably, if you know anything about his career, he would have issues sometimes with officials in the game. He wouldn't stand any nonsense from people, and he certainly had a few issues with umpires.
We had the usual upsets with the West Indian umpires, a strange breed of animal umpires. In Britain, we have the finest in the world, because they are practically full-time professionals. In Australia, I found they could go either way. In India, they were terrible. But in the West Indies, they have the worst in the world.
Blimey.
For example, in one match, I managed to find a wet spot and made the ball rear up. It hit one batsman, a real crack on his glove, and the catch was taken at short leg. But the umpire turned the appeal down, and when I protested, he said the ball had struck his thigh pad. I told him that you don't normally find a thigh pad in front of a man's throat, and pointed to the batsman, who had taken off his glove to inspect the damage to his hand.
A thigh pad, isn't it, in Yorkshire? Is that thigh pad? Is it thigh pad pro or thigh pad air?
Yeah.
Next to your thigh phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, Fred, he dealt with it, that situation, in the manner you would fully expect.
Oh, yeah.
This man was being so blasé into the bargain that I was really furious. And I'm afraid I hit him in the mouth and he had to be carried off.
There we are.
Really?
Something else you say every day.
A red card now, really, wouldn't it?
Probably would be. So there we are. Bit of from the archives, some great balls of fire. I think the CD or the cassette is probably out there somewhere in a Sue Ryder shop near you. You may be able to find it. It's classic stuff. And the book's a great read.
A wonderful bowler.
Not much.
The most
amazing.
Beautiful action. If you get a chance to have a look on YouTube, almost the perfect action.
So, just a reminder, the old Belhaven Twisted Grapefruit IPA, highly recommended. Thanks to our friends at Green King. We're in the summer pub garden with Green King. Lots more to come this afternoon.